William Taylor was driving on a Tuesday evening in Melbourne when an allegedly stolen car ploughed into his. He died at the scene. The trainee doctor was only 28. His family wanted the alleged teen driver to stay behind bars, but he was released on bail despite having form. Tonight, the teenager is back behind bars after breaking his bail conditions. It's a story becoming far too common, and victims' families are demanding change. And joining me is Natalie Gordon, sister of Dr. Ash Gordon, who was allegedly killed by two teens. Natalie, despite being on bail, the 17-year-old driver didn't check in for 2 days, surprising no one, especially you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you're very right. I wasn't surprised at all. I was more shocked that they actually gave them bail the first time.
It's so close to home for you. It must be so hard to hear these stories popping up regularly as they do. Two 16-year-olds were charged with your brother's murder, and one of them was on bail at the time. If you could change one thing about the system immediately, which should be done, what would it be?
Immediately, I would tighten them bail laws. I would, make it harder to grant bail and easier to actually keep them in. Unfortunately, they are reoffending more times than not. So why do we keep letting them back out into society?
You've started a petition along those lines for tougher bail laws. What kind of reaction are you getting, from people that you talk about the petition to?
Generally, it's a pretty good reaction. The wider community is absolutely so fed up with the constant reoccurrence of these same issues. I mean, these youth are continuously stealing cars, breaking into homes, and generally just scaring the community. So more often than not, people are wanting to sign more times than once. It's a very rare occasion that someone comes up and says, "Oh, I don't agree with it." And that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinions and feelings. But mostly, everyone's had enough and everybody wants to see the change, and they're supporting us wholeheartedly.
It must be so frustrating for you to see these same mistakes being made. Do you get any indication from the police how frustrating it must be for them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can only speak on the police that we've had direct contact with, or the detectives, even the prosecutors that we've had direct contact with. They are so frustrated, and you can see the pain in their faces when they're having to tell families like mine the likelihood of how the proceedings will go. The police, the detectives, frontline workers, they put their lives on the line every single day, and they cop all the backlash from the community. They're not doing enough, they're doing too much. They're always the ones copping the flack, but unfortunately they are just as frustrated as the general community.
Now, tougher bail laws, that just seems obvious. Have you thought about what we could do to prevent young people from committing crimes?
I truly believe we need to bring in harsher penalties for lesser crimes, so we're stopping them from getting to this point in their lives. I believe that, just putting people in jails is not going to all be the solution. I know that there's not just a one-fix solution to this problem. We really need to re-educate people on how to appropriately discipline children, so that they're learning from a young age that you can't treat people like this. But the things like ankle monitoring systems, that is only going to work for a young person who has a conscience. And unfortunately, by the time they're at this stage, they're too far gone. We need to introduce that really early on. You make one slight mistake and that's going to be your punishment. You're going to wear a monitor and really show them that this is not the way they want their life to go.
So a series of crisis meetings is being held at the top where changes can be made. It is a start. How confident are you that we're going to see some action being taken?
I'm not confident at all. We've heard it all before. There'll be a 5 or 10 year plan to project out all these new law changes, but unfortunately by that time, how many lives will have been lost?
What keeps you motivated to fight this battle?
My brother's memory. He always wanted to make a change, and he always wanted to treat people in the best way possible, hence why he went down the line of medicine. He wanted to make people feel good, so I purely do it for his memory and to keep his memory alive. His death wasn't in vain.
We see what you're doing and honour you for it, and I'd imagine that you'd like to prevent this same thing happening to other families.
Absolutely. I never want another family to feel this pain. Unfortunately, there is a family currently starting to go through the same process we are going through, and I feel so deeply for them. I wish that they never had to go through this. I wouldn't wish it upon anybody.
Natalie, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.